It is absolutely just unimaginable that anything other than the FBI agents grabbed these papers, put them all over the floor, snapped a picture, and leaked it to the press. One would wonder, why do you leak something like that to the press? What story are you trying to get out? And quite frankly, to the FBI, why are you trying to get out a story?
Yeah.
What story is it your business to get out? You're not journalists.
Governor Mike Huckabee, that threat to democracy and an extremist, that, according to White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, who on Wednesday of this week said anybody who voted for Donald Trump is an extremist and a threat to democracy. I kid you not, Governor, that's what she said. Where are we in this world right now?
We're in a real bad place, Doug, when you have somebody who is paid for by the taxpayers, who insults half of the taxpayers in the country by basically saying, if you didn't vote for the guy I work for, the guy who gives me a paycheck, then you're an extremist, a threat to democracy. You shouldn't be allowed to vote, even though she didn't add that. If you're really a threat to the democracy, you shouldn't be allowed to vote. So how do you insult half of America with something as extraordinary as that and expect that we're going to say, oh, well, maybe we are extremists. Gee, maybe we should apologize. Perhaps we're wrong 100% of the time, and you're right. If this is Joe Biden's strategy to unify the country, all I can say is he has failed miserably.
You're being kind about that. Governor, on the subject of the former president, Donald Trump, let's move now to the latest goings-on at Mar-a-Lago. We've seen this photograph. It's being spread far and wide of alleged classified documents in the president's office at Mar-a-Lago, spread out on the floor. It was taken by the FBI, there's a really great tweet by the Washington Examiner's Brian Tweet referencing these photographs, that photograph rather. He says, quote, "So question, is that the way the documents were kept? The DOJ filing refers to Attachment F as redacted FBI photograph of certain documents and classified cover sheets recovered from a container in 45 office, the 45th President of the United States." In other words, let me repeat that. Classified cover sheets recovered from a container. Well, if they were in a container, who put them on the floor? It looks like the FBI who staged this photograph. I can't interpret it any other way, can you?
There's really no other way to interpret. This is a clear indication that the FBI decided to spread this material all over the floor by having taken it out of the box, taking pictures of it, and then you want to ask, if it is really that sensitive, why would you spread it out on the floor, take a picture of it, and leak it to the world? What does that say to our enemies? That, hey, take a look at some of these documents that are out there. First of all, it doesn't prove anything because we don't know if they've been declassified or not. Secondly, we don't know what kind of security they were stored in. And thirdly, if they were this valuable, this incredibly sensitive, if a judge gave the search warrant on Friday, how come they waited over the weekend and didn't show up until Monday with 30 armed agents and go huffing and puffing into Donald Trump's office? Wouldn't it be important enough to go Friday as soon as the warrant was active? It just doesn't add up. It really doesn't. And I'm not just saying that as somebody who unapologetically leans to the right. I'm quoting people like Jonathan Turley, who is admittedly not a Trump supporter, admittedly left of center, but he is a constitutional law professor who values the law more than he does his own point of view. I wish some people in the FBI did, and I sure as heck wish that some people in the mainstream media did.
Well, you know, there's another component to this, and I know it from, anybody knows it, but I know it especially well from having been a local TV news reporter, a nightside reporter covering crime night in and night out in Washington, D.C., and whenever police put up the yellow tape or had an investigative scene going on there, you knew not to cross that. You knew not to tamper with evidence. You don't disturb the body. You don't disturb the shell casings. Here they took these documents, apparently, from all apparent evidence, and spread them out on the floor. I don't get it. I just don't get it.
As well as I know Donald Trump, the one thing I can tell you, he didn't spread those documents all over the floor. His top of his desk might sometimes be messy, but around him, the floor, the chairs, the tables were immaculate because he liked the setting of that. And he never left stuff just strewn about. When you went to the Oval Office, you never saw papers on the desk or on his credenza, on the coffee table. None of that was visible. So it is absolutely just unimaginable that anything other than the FBI agents grabbed these papers, put them all over the floor, snapped a picture, and leaked it to the press. One would wonder, why do you leak something like that to the press? What story are you trying to get out? And quite frankly, to the FBI, why are you trying to get out a story?
Yeah.
What story is it your business to get out? You're not journalists. You're supposed to be investigators, and you keep your mouth shut until the investigation is over. That's why I believe this is not a legitimate investigation. This is nothing more than political weaponization of the highest officials in the Department of Justice, and it just reeks and smells of something absolutely just untenable for us in a free society.
You know, one of my former colleagues at Fox News once told me how when she went to Trump Towers in New York City to do an interview with the president-elect and the First Lady-elect, although she's not elected, I don't know what you call the First Lady when she's not in office yet. She had to take her shoes off and put on the special booties. That's how fastidious Donald Trump is about his... We know he's a germaphobe. He's a freak about that.
Yeah.
He's a clean freak. I don't think he's the kind of guy who leaves papers lying around on the floor. Just a wild guess on my part. Where broader?
And Doug, let me say this. He would have fired anyone who left those papers on the floor for the exact reason that you just mentioned.
Let's turn to the broader subject, though. Where does this investigation go?
I think the big question is, will there be anything to come of it before the elections? There are some stories saying there won't be. But this is clearly an attempt to distract away from the real issues that we ought to be worried about. I call them the 3 big G's: gasoline, groceries, and God. Gasoline may be down a little bit from what it was, but it's still $1 a gallon more higher than it was when Joe Biden took office. Groceries up substantially. Every American's paying more, and then add inflation to that, and their buying power has decimated. And then if you add, I call it the God issue, and that means things like parents are supposed to just shut up and let their children be told anything that the school wants to teach them without saying, hey, those things violate my values as a parent. Are coming away from the idea that God made 2 genders and instead saying, yeah, a 4-year-old can't decide whether they like broccoli or what they want to have on their, on their cereal, but they can make a life-altering decision and even go into a surgical procedure with irreversible effects, and we're going to be okay with that.
Yeah, I think historians will look back on this era as one of the strangest times in human history. Hi, I'm Doug McKelway, and thank you for watching Centerpoint. We hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and tap the bell icon so you're notified every time a new video is posted. Leave a comment below and keep the conversation going by sharing this video with a friend who needs to see it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow.